Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow. In today's episode, it's a really first of a series of episodes. I'm going to try to attempt to do something that I've not done before, but I always had the idea of, and that is to do a review on some written work about anime. Okay, so people have been using anime to write essays, to write like theses and documents, and obviously homework assignments and that kind of stuff about anime. And so in this episode is going to be a start of a long chain of episodes, because obviously to fully do an analysis on a written work, it may require me several episodes to go over different points and that kind of stuff. But um, this is one of these sort of rare situations I get to do this. So before I begin and talk about this, I want to remind people to go down below, click like and click subscribe. Again, any sort of comments and things that you would write down does help the YouTube algorithm. So at least hitting that like definitely does really help. So do please do that. Again, if you want to support me financially, I do have the super thanks button available, as well as the PayPal and Patreon links. Again, I've now added a little more content to the Patreon. So again, if people who are interested in my new ebook that's out, I've now added video versions of that available now. Again, so again, you can go to the Patreon, you can log in for free, and again, I've made it so that any of the paid accounts, has access to that first ebook for free, and the video version, you get a massive discount on it as well. So in case you would like to get a video version of the ebook, okay, as well as the audiobook as well. So do check that out. Link is below. Okay, so as I said, in this episode, I'm going to be going through and doing analysis on these written pieces of work. So people have obviously submitted either thesis documents or maybe their homework assignments, or that's for some of the writing, creative writing, or in this case it's whatever studies that they happen to be doing. Okay, and it uses a lot of references to anime. And part of the reason why I made this this channel is to inform people and to record and document history, of this age of anime that we've had in North America. And a lot of people who are doing this kind of research and that kind of stuff are having problems finding actual sources and actual information in regards to this era of anime. Okay, and and I've seen it from people from Crunchyroll and people from various different magazines and that kind of stuff are all interviewing different people and are trying to find information about the origins of how anime got this way. So in today's episode, I've come across a piece of writing. Okay, it does have this sort of a political sort of type of leaning towards it. Okay, and again, I don't want to talk politics and that kind of stuff, and most people don't really care, especially on this particular part of the channel, because my emphasis is on this again, documenting a time period in our history that that transpired and isn't well documented. Not very many people have written too many articles and that kind of stuff about it, and not too many people, especially from this particular era, have basically documented what exactly has gone on in this thing. And so what ends up happening is people tend to rely on things like Google and whatnot to write their essays and to get confirmation bias on their particular works. And this is particularly poor when Google does not show results for things that happened in the 1990s or the 1980s, right? They actually need some people, some interviews, and that kind of stuff to be made. And that's, primarily one of the main functions of my channel here, is to provide this documentation, to show you pictures, to tell you stories and accounts, show you merchandise and things that came from that, and how we came across it, getting this stuff, what this means, tie in things that happen in anime with things that are happening in real life. Okay, and that's what I'm trying to do with that. So again, this isn't a typical type of episode, and the way that I'm tackling this episode is maybe a little bit strange and very very long. Okay, but I assure you, even though we are touching a little bit on politics, do not pay attention to that too much because I won't delve too deeply into it. Okay, I'll touch on it, but I won't really get into why what particular things that happen on that, because as I said, there's a lot of factors and that kind of stuff, and that's not what this particular channel is really about to. But what I want to address, and which is the most important thing, is when people do research, okay, and they go and try to find information that supports their research, okay, and they use Google and that kind of stuff, this is confirmation bias. The fact that you're specifically looking for information and looking for essentially yes men, okay, people that will say yes to whatever you say, to basically confirm what you're writing. And of course, this is really poor scientific method, right? And since the topic is anime, I want to be this person that comes in and says, okay, using my own accounts, my own and whatever evidence and documentations and that kind of stuff, fan letters and newsletters, merchandise, art books, or whatever that happens to be, that I have available as a historic archive. I want to present it to you and tell my story in helping you understand and build this picture, the story. If you want to, kind of have a vision that's not just in front of you but around you, right? What are all the other factors that transcribe around you? So when I describe what the environment of, let's say, an anime convention in 1991, or some of the funny stories and conflicts and cosplay and that kind of stuff that happened at Comic-Con in '89. Okay, I want to not only tell you the story, I want to see if I can get you some pictures. I want to give you some context of why this is this particular thing happened. Was there any other things happening at the con that might have transpired? What about any sort of popular culture things that were also happening, or news stories that was happening at that particular time that has a significance of why this sort of thing occurred in anime? And this is what I want to present. Okay, this is the history part and the accounting part and of course the recording of and documentating of this kind of history, because as I said, um, we're all getting older, okay, and if we don't tell our story, if we don't get it, told in and documented, then we may become people like Carl Masek, Don Yee, Torrance Smith, all these people who are pivotal members of the anime community, but they're no longer around anymore, and they can't tell their story, and and all the things, whether or not good, bad, conflicts, their opinions on stuff, on how they handled things, and all the inside stories that we can't find on Google, and people didn't post on any sort of form, gets lost. Okay, that part of history is lost, and until someone comes through and documents it, maybe brings out some receipts and brings out some scripts and or things of basically historical importance, okay, like these anime artifacts, if you will, okay, um, you know their story will never be fully, as I said, fully appreciated and fully understood, and then it'll be just basically left for interpretation. And and one good example I just did a few episodes ago is the story of the most mysterious song on the internet. Okay, the mere fact that it is highly possible that most members of the band who wrote that song are no longer around. Even the producer that probably made that thing is probably, maybe, possibly no longer around. And with that, it may be very impossible to find out who exactly wrote that song and where it came from and that kind of stuff. And it may be just one of those untold, basically unsolved mysteries, right? And in this era, at this particular time, there should be no excuse for these untold mysteries or unsolved unresolved and unsolved anime things in history. Because as I said, we are still very, very young. As I said, we have entered a year of 40 years of anime in North America here. We should be able to have and document our own history and be able to do that, because as I said, we're not that old yet. Not that old yet. So let's get that. Okay. So anyway, I apologize for such a long opening. But yes, so here we're going to be in. I'm going to break this up into smaller episodes, and I'm going to kind of spread them out so that it's more digestible, and people can think about and do the different things rather than one big, huge 5-hour, 6-hour long video. Okay, so I'll break it up for you. All right. So without further delay, let's begin.
Okay, Suzanne Scott, 2019, so she basically had a book, proposes to consider the concept of spreadable misogyny in fan cultures emerging out of the intersection of growth of toxic technocultures and the industrial privileging of white, straight, cisgendered male conception of the fan. There she argues that the spreadability afforded to media, again not defining what media is, consumers and help further exclude female fans from fan cultures by using the same social technical conditions and mimetic logics of spreadable media. Again, not defining what social media, spreadable media is. So, lots of technical garbage here. So you could propose to consider this concept of spreadable misogyny in fan cultures. Okay, so basically, spreading the word of, I guess, I guess the new modern definition of things like, toxic masculinity and whatever new coin words that they use for that, right? They threw the word misogyny out there, and I said, these feminists love to use this word, okay, and is defined as the dislike or the contempt or the ingrained prejudice against women. Okay, so the fact that the anime culture is all sort of anti-woman, not equal rights and equal representation and over exploitation or whatever, sexualism type of thing, right? But the thing is that you realize that this is from Japan, right? We're not using North American standards. We're using Japanese standards, right? It's the company's fault for picking animes that are following the 3Gs, girls, guns, and gore. I mean, if you were really, if this thing, they're going to say, oh, well, we shouldn't, we can handle the guns and the gore, sure, but maybe we should just get rid of the girls part, right? So then, okay, I guess we're not releasing Dirty Pair, and I guess we can't do the Blue Girl, and no, I guess we can't do really Urusei Yatsura because she's always running around in a bikini. We can't have that. No, that we're gonna axe that out. And Ranma, we can't do that either because that's the chest flying out everywhere. So we can't have that. And Dangayo, it's really strange how Mia has to lose all her clothes and before she actually ends up going into the Dangayo suit. We can't have that. But and Ixer 1, the lesbo scene in episode 1, we can't have that. And the fact that Nagasta, she can't wear clothes while she's inside the Ixer suit. No, we can't have that either, right? Yet where did all the money go, right? The first whole bunch of releases from U.S. renditions and LA Hero, the company that Trish Ledoux works for and gets paid from. Guess what the first titles they get released are? Outlanders, where she's the voice actor for the main character. Okay, make that make sense. Yeah, LA Hero, U.S. renditions. Yeah, they're the first people that got released. Dangayo and Ixer 1. Oh boy, jeez. How does that make any sense? Huh? Okay. Viz Communications, the person that the company that Trish Ledoux works for. They licensed Maison Ikaku. They licensed Ranma 1/2. Oh my God. Are these not titles that we're not supposed to have? Oh, geez. Okay. So whose fault is that? Okay. Is that more, misogyny from these companies? As I said, North American companies, they picked them. Okay. If Trish Dew had so much influence and that kind of stuff, she would have said, nope, we're not going to release any of this because this is distasteful, right? It's spreading the hatred of the female figure. But no, that wasn't the case, right? So obviously, that's not true. Okay. Then they continue to put it emerging the intersection of the growth of toxic technocultures. So basically, these spaces, which as the technology increases, become hostile for that. And of course, using rec.arts.anime or Usenet groups, okay, which is the epitome of anarchy. Okay, nobody is policing these news groups. Nobody is saying and deleting messages that are inappropriate. There is no word filters, saying that, oh, okay, I see these words, this, and this, and this, right? Then, they block them out, okay? This doesn't exist. Yet you're trying to say that, oh, this is the toxic technoculture that we have, right? Now, of course, in the modern day, of course, they have things like, X and Facebook and Discord and Reddit, okay, which now do have moderators. They have AI controlling different types of speech. Even things like YouTube and that kind of stuff. When you write your comments into YouTube, they actually have algorithms that say, oh, you shouldn't be using that particular word or this particular word or whatever, right? So they have filters for that now, okay. So, the fact that you are trying to take something that's 30 years old, 30, 40 years old, and trying to apply it to technologies that didn't exist back then, Facebook and all these internet things that we now have, okay, prior to, 1995, which is basically when these news groups died, okay, and, evolved into better things. You're saying that all that all those problems that happened with that particular type of technoculture transpired and copied itself to all the new things, right? So all these new things like Facebook, X, Instagram, and things. Again, technologies that did not exist back then. You're saying that somehow that got transferred into this misogyny, transferred from back then into this new stuff. Okay. It continues right here. It says industrial privileging of the white, straight, cisgendered conception of the fan. Okay, saying that all these new technologies, okay, are privileging the white. Okay, again, that's probably very untrue because it said now, with a lot of the anime community, there's lots of new Asians and there's lots of different nations. Okay. Because I said not only, for example, like Dragon Ball. I mean, huge fan in Central America and South America, right? They have huge viewing parties in the middle of open, showing Dragon Ball Super and all that kind of stuff. Are they white? No. But no, you want to, I said, it's drive your particular narrative, so you have to say the word that. Okay, straight cisgendered male. Okay, so if 97% of the population is identifying as cisgendered, then why do you even need to say that, right? And it's saying that and even add the word straight just to add the insult to it, right? It doesn't matter if you're straight or whatever. Like, is the industry privileging these people? Like, are things like news groups like Facebook and Instagram and all these other things, are they making it these people privileged? Okay, OnlyFans, right? Is it is this new thing privileging men? Okay, of course not. 80% of the 80% of the users on or content creators on OnlyFans are female. Okay. The majority of the I think the top 10 earners on OnlyFans are female, and they earn something like 60% of the revenues or no, 70 something. I think it's like 65-70% of the total revenue from OnlyFans goes to the top 10% of content creators. Okay, and the remaining like 27% or whatever goes to the everybody else, the 90% of all the other content creators, male or female. Male and female, because I don't believe there was any males in the top 10 percent of income owners on OnlyFans. They get the remaining 27%. Okay, so I think the average person on OnlyFans is like $180. The average. And of course they take their 20%, so it's actually probably closer to 140. But yeah, is that privilege going to the white straight student? No, of course not. Because as I said, this is a technology that didn't exist at this time in 1985, and all of a sudden you want to apply things that happened back then to new or technologies that happen now. Take a look at Instagram, right? 55% of the people that are on Instagram are female. And they can say whatever they want and post whatever. They can turn off their messages, And does that mean that, they are, white? Not necessarily. There seems to be pretty distribution. There's no lackage of multicultural people on that platform. And, they're not necessarily all male. Instead, 55% are female. How is that being disadvantaged? Is that a toxic technoculture that happens there? Of course not. And the reason is because now the people have the ability to be ground zero. So again, going back to your concept of what they call spreadable media, okay? People, everyday ordinary people, can be now ground zero. There are so many AI resources and that stuff now available. If you want to produce your own content or say your own particular message or whatever, you can be ground zero and you can make your own video for YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, start up an OnlyFans page, Snapchat, whatever you want, Facebook, X, whatever you want. Okay, you can be ground zero and say what you want to do and be that first person that spreads out all that kind of stuff. And what even is more interesting is that you say this concept of spreadable misogyny, meaning that and using this concept of the spreadable media. Okay, so say you make a posting on, let's say, TikTok, for example. Okay, and you want to prevent it from being modified or added to, and then basically created onto that. You can do things like turn off your comments. Okay, so people cannot then do the same thing as they did in r.a.a, where you posted something and you said something or whatever that might be, people may have disagreements to or whatever, and then because you turned off your comments, nobody can post anything about it. Okay. Now, of course, that doesn't stop them from stitching onto the video and then making other videos, and then even if you deleted your original post because you said something stupid or whatever, the internet's sometimes pretty much forever. So if you do something, be prepared for whatever happens afterwards, because that's now public domain. So if you make a fool of yourself and people keep reposting those messages and recreating that same thing, that's what that is referred to. This spreadable media, okay? And, you can call it misogyny, but I said, if you, say something outrageous and, don't take care and don't take accountability, which is, again, something that feminists don't like to do, take accountability for your actions, then so be it, right? So if that's making a mistake for creating an OnlyFans account, or putting some information that was probably private and just blurting it out there so that everyone knows, then so be it. That is something that you have to take accountability to, and that's one thing that a lot of people don't. Okay, but she argues that the spreadability afforded to media consumers, all right. So basically, the ability for these people to media. So if, let's say in this case, if media is like these messages, okay. So the abilities to someone to basically hit reply or hit forward, okay, to the users of this news group, that is helping exclude anime fans from cultures, okay. And you're right, it could, okay, because she's arguing that that having the ability to do that, it could do this, right? That is again blaming the tool rather than the user, right? But okay, or the form rather than the tool, right? Like that's like saying, gas stations are dangerous because they have flammable materials called gas. So they are a public menace and they should be they should get rid of them. No, it's don't blame the tool, blame the user of the tool that makes it dangerous. Okay. Let's say, but the way that they say that they cause the exclusion of female fans is by using the same technological conditions and mnemonic logics of the spreadable media. Okay, so what does that mean? Technological conditions. So basically, taking advantage of the fact that here we have a very complex technological thing. Okay, being able to get onto the Usenet, and people not being able to afford computers and that kind of stuff due to their social status, right? Because a $600 job, it makes it really difficult to pay for a $2,000 computer. Okay, so obviously that has passed, right? You're taking something, a situation from 30 years ago, and trying to apply it to something that doesn't have that problem anymore. Anyone can now access social media, and anyone who holds basically a smartphone, an iPad, they have surpassed this social technological condition because now they have access. Virtually everybody has access now. Even kids, okay, pre elementary school, even kids now have cell phones and iPads and that kind of stuff. Okay, so we definitely do not have the same social technological conditions as we did before. Okay, yet you want to mention it here. Oh yeah. They're using that barrier to prevent female fans from accessing this thing. No, now this because now technology is so free and so available that there's virtually no restriction anymore, whether social status or just technologically speaking, not to be able to access the internet by most Western culture means, right? And the last one is, and by mimetic logics of social media. So mimetic logics refers to, mimetic itself is a Darwinism sort of application to how culture changes, very similar to how evolution happens in real life. Okay, so when a piece of media, okay, when in this case a piece of spreadable media, okay, it takes on a kind of lifelike quality. If it is useful, it has a purpose, it can be enjoyed. Someone has some sort of sentimental attachment or whatever to it. I.e., it has a purpose. Okay, it will survive and be passed on to the next generation or that kind of thing, right? So, for example, let's say in this case we define the media as a TikTok video. Okay, if it's a good TikTok video, it's funny, it's it's stitchable, or maybe it's controversial and has multiple facets that people want to reply about. Like, i.e., for example, someone asks a question and requires an answer to the question. And so, therefore, it promotes people to make a reply to that message. So, therefore, it makes the message, or it makes the media, in this case, the TikTok video, more likely to reproduce or to clone itself or to propagate to the next level. Okay, just like how life is, right? Whereas if it's a boring video, if it's something that doesn't say anything, if it's like, a blank screen that's silent, okay, it serves no purpose. It has no purpose. No one will like it. No one gains anything from it. It doesn't educate me in any way. This is essentially a waste of space. So no one will duplicate it. No one will like it. No one will stitch it. No one will share it and whatnot. So basically, it becomes a dead cell, right? And basically, it will die off. It'll be like culling the population. It'll be basically as Darwinism is, the fit survive, and the weak die off, right? So a video. A TikTok video, which is a blank screen with nobody talking, okay, is that sort of situation. Boring. Nobody wants it. What the heck is this? So it will basically die off, and the algorithms and that kind of stuff will not show it to people, and it will basically die away and become part of the internet. The bottom of the internet trash of things that come out. Okay, so. So that's what they refer to as Mimex logic, okay? So basically what you're saying is that, the fact that, the social technical conditions, so i.e. the people not being able to have access to the technology to make videos and make content or whatever, or messages, okay? Which, of course, now in modern day, pretty much has been removed, okay? And then the mimetic logic of spiral media, meaning basically, it's up to the person, it's up to the actual media, whether it's a message or a TikTok video or a DVD or a VHS tape or whatever. Okay, if the content is not good, if it is not something that people find valuable, if it's not people find sentimental, or they'll learn something from it, or there's good information in it, or it's something that maybe queries and asks a question, or proposes more thought, or invokes a response. Okay, it will not propagate or contain more lineage or spread itself any further. Okay, so that's not a bad thing or anything. That's just a saying that hey, if you're gonna say something or you're gonna make something that spreads or whatever, it's got to be of some substance, and it's got to be something that people will be interested in and go on for. So again, if you want to do the media as in like a DVD or an anime or a program like Star Wars, basically produce a product that people are interested. Like, if the fans are interested in it, produce that thing which the fans are wanting. Because if they don't want it and they see your thing as a piece of crap, okay, they're not going to buy it. They're not going to support it. They're going to let it die off. Because it's like, this is a piece of turd. This is waste material. It's not worth my time to invest to watch this or to consume this whatever Star Wars accolade, for example. Okay, the fans just don't want this. That's why it's got a 13% Rotten Tomatoes score. Everyone's going, okay, yeah, this is not worth wasting my time. Maybe if it becomes free, or a lot. What I've been doing recently is I've been waiting until the public library gets it, and then I'll go and get it from the public library for free. You know, that's the concept, and that is what the mimetic logic refers to. Is that if the content is unappealing, and not worthy of time and distribution, it will, like a creature that's been abandoned or whatever, it will die off and be part of that, quote, the weakest link, or a weak thing where the DNA will not spread any further. Whereas if you make something that is really good, is what is a hot item, a viral item, something that everyone's kind of talking about and clamoring over. Okay, that is something that's going to spread everywhere, right? So again, the strongest survives. And so to tie this all together, they're basically saying that, okay, this concept of this spread of misogyny or whatever, this hatred towards women, they're saying that the intersection of these two technocultures involving the industrial privileging of these people. Well, the problem is that with the new technologies and that kind of stuff, it has not been limited to those people. If people have the ability to basically has made it so easy that anybody with a cell phone, okay, for example, can download a simple app like Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and they can start posting whatever they want to say. Just spew all the contents of their private life, whether or not it's ethical, non-ethical, private, whatever. They can spew it all out onto the internet with very ease and of ease. Okay, there's no one stopping them. There is no toxic technoculture to stop them. Okay, they can do what they want. There's no male things that say that they can't do that. Okay, same thing. Industrial privileging. Okay, all these now technical standards and that kind of stuff are privileging everyone. They're not just privileging the males and whatnot. Okay, if women want to get onto OnlyFans, sure, no problem. 80% of the people on OnlyFans are women, no problem. 50% of the people on Instagram are women. No problem. No one's going to stop them. You just download the app. It's free. Boom. All right? There's no privilege or anything out there. There's no, any of that kind of barriers anymore. But yet you want to argue that there is. Okay? And then, of course, then you can say you can argue, okay, I don't see any points that you've made, but you are going to argue that the spreadability of spreadable media to exclude anime fans. So they're using the obstacles of no, because of your economic status, you don't work in a computer STEM field, and you can't afford a device that'll get you on the internet. Nope, you can't do that, and because of that, you don't produce any sort of content that anyone would be interested in listening to or watching. Okay, are all false. Okay, literally. Technology has made it, all the technological advancements that we have over the past 30 years have made it so easy that any individual that has a cell phone, okay, pretty much a smartphone, and a lot of people do that, not just in North America, but I'm sure in the Philippines and in Japan and Korea, all over Europe, China, right? All those people have cell phones, okay? Any one of them can download, TikTok, Instagram, Douyin or whatever, Snapchat, and Facebook or YouTube, Twitch, right? They're all free, right? And they can say and start, they can be now ground zero, and they can say whatever they want. No one's stopping them, okay? There's no technological barriers anymore, because as long as you got the money to get a cell phone, and heck, Parents are giving elementary school and high school kids cell phones, right? I mean, my son got his cell phone when he was in grade 8. Okay, so even kids at that age can go on and post messages on Discord and go on Twitch and all that other stuff. There's nothing stopping them. Okay, so that's not exclusion. All right. And again, and mimetic logics. It basically goes to the fact that women are producing content that people want to watch, whether it's other women who want to watch it, or if it's like OnlyFans, they can get all these subscriptions, and heck, look at how Instagram works. I mean, women can just post pictures of themselves, and they get lots and lots of followers and lots of DMs. So there's obviously nothing stopping them from doing that. There's no misogyny going on in there. So where is this, this thing that she posted? And she did that back in 2019. She should have known better. The fact that, this kind of stuff happens. And I think half the problem is the fact that, they use this word media. And they don't clearly define what it is. And they just kind of just spray these words like misogyny and social technological organizations and mimic logics, okay, like just starting to throw just big words around without actually just defining what they are and actually putting it in context to what you're talking about. So we're talking about anime here, okay, say what you mean, like say what this particular media is. Are we talking video cassettes? Are we talking news broadcasts? Are we talking radio transmissions? Are we talking podcasts? Like, what kind of media are we talking about here? Right? And unfortunately, by leaving it vague and that kind of stuff, they can kind of hide behind the definition of the word media without properly defining it. So here I've given examples of that kind of stuff, and then showing that this doesn't carry over. And again, the main reason is why anime has progressed as far as it has, even in my own situation where when I was doing fan subbing and that kind of stuff, the reason why and that anime caught on as well as it did and progressed as well as it did is with the help of technology. As the technology got better, whether it's for internet, whether it's for computers, whether or not it's translational services, and even now where we talk about AI and stuff and how things will assist us in translations, transcribing, timing, CCC subtitles. I mean, I've done several episodes on how AI can help us translate stuff out of Japanese into English. So now we can basically watch anything, even stuff that the commercial companies aren't releasing. We can watch it now. We can watch just regular NHK programming and things like that, and all those things that we never got translated back into those, like all those like CD radio dramas. We can get into those now because we now have AI to help us do that, right? But that's one of these things. These social technological conditions. Okay. Without defining what those are and actually applying them to anime and the environment that anime has, it really doesn't serve any purpose.
Thank you for sticking along and basically staying with it for this long. I really appreciate that. So again, this is not typical content that I like to do, and but I think it's very interesting. Not so much for the topic or whatever of the particular essay here, okay? Because I don't that's probably that's politics and that kind of stuff is something I don't want to get into on this particular channel. But again, the importance of is correctly documenting events that happened in the past, especially in this very important golden era part of anime, and making and setting the record straight. You can make your own interpretations, and as when I remember when I took when I was on jury duty, okay, someone made a very prolific statement, okay, which really shaped the way how I think and interpret things. And this is what he said. You can choose to not believe, partially believe, total believe, none, some, or all of the evidence. Okay? So think about that. You can either, and this is it. There's, you've provided 6 different possibilities for one particular type of outcome. So if someone presents you a piece of information, you can choose to 0% believe none of it. Okay, you have no confidence in it. You can have some belief or some particular confidence of some level, or you can be totally invested in believing this thing. Okay, but also you can also choose to believe none of the evidence. So, if multiple pieces or one piece of evidence that has different facets of it, you can choose to believe none of that. Maybe some parts of the evidence you deem credible and you will believe some parts of that. Or you trust the evidence, okay, so you fully believe that this evidence is 100% all parts of the evidence, so all the evidence as a whole, and you can choose to believe none of it, some of it, or all of it. And you can choose what level you believe it to, whether or not you just decide to 100% with or 0% confidence in any parts of that, partial confidence in 0 to all of it, or 100% confidence in none or all of it. Okay? Seems kind of confusing, but at the same time, it really resonated with me about how you would learn to interpret things and take the parts that you want to, that you feel credible, okay, and then you can analyze that using critical thinking to determine whether or not you wish to add this to your base of knowledge or disregard it as just total fluff. Or maybe something in the middle. Partially you agree with certain parts, you don't agree with certain parts, you feel fuzzy about certain parts, but you're confident that the evidence is actually true, but you're not really sure. Well, that's so it handles all the different gray zones, both positively on that. So again,
the goal here is to train your mind how to see the world differently, how to question what others say. I've come to realize that there are 3 categories of truth: personal truth, political truths, and the objective truths that shape our understanding of the universe. The interesting thing about an objective truth is that it's true no matter what. Imagine that.
That's just something one story I like to reflect on. But again, we have more episodes of this. This is a fairly long essay, but as I said, I'll split up the episodes and have more of that again. Okay, so thank you for staying this long. But again, don't be turned off by the fact of the topic that this is about. Because I'm not going to try to cover the politics and that kind of stuff a little bit. I'll touch on it a little bit just because I have to. But for the most part, I want to stick to the history. All right. So thank you again, and I will see you in the next episode. So until next time, I will see you again.